At 12, Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Another man in custody connected to a deadly shooting near Texas State this weekend. How he's involved. Next.
And our very own Petty Santos is giving us an exclusive look on how the Hunt community is supporting each other. Coming up in a few minutes. Good morning, 6 o'clock on a Tuesday. Nice to have you along, and nice to have Devin doing traffic today. Because I was
stepping in. Yeah, we've got a little bit of backups going on.
You weren't on the struggle bus too bad, Ernie. You did fine.
Yes,
you did fine.
I set you up with a few graphics as much as I could do. You did great yesterday.
So if you guys don't know by now, RJ Marquez and Justin Horn on a vacation, but it's okay because we're holding down the fort. Got a great team. You're talking about awesome summer-like temperatures coming our way.
Yes, for sure. We get a little bit of weather for everyone. Rain next weekend, heat this week. I know a lot of kiddos wanting to stay active, go outside for the pool before school starts this year, and today's definitely going to be one of those days. Right now, we're waking up still in those 70s, 73 degrees in Comfort, 78 right now at the San Antonio airport. Still kind of muggy this morning, and throughout the next few hours, we're going to continue to be muggy. It's our normal morning. You're waking up feeling that humidity, and most of the humidity's already gone by lunchtime. And the air temperature and the dew point temperature are within about a 5-degree stretch for most of us here across just our neck of the woods. 73 for the dew point temperature in San Antonio, 71 for the dew point in areas of Comfort. And today is going to be warm. We are expecting near triple-digit heat for us, not exactly triple-digit heat. We're expecting 100 degrees later on this week, but most of us still sitting in those 90s. 93 degrees expected later today for Helotes, 96 in areas of Seguin, 97 in Floresville at the Stinson Airport, at Poteet, down towards Pleasanton. And it's also going to depend on how quickly we get that cloud coverage out for not only today, but for the next few days. So far this year, we've only had about 3 days above 100 degrees, and some of them were back in March, if you can remember that. Normally, by this time of year, we're seeing at least 12, 27, or even back in 2022, we had 42 days so far, year to date, where we were above 100 degrees. We have our first 100-degree day for the month of July and even for the season of summer coming up in just a few days, but we're still continuing to be near triple-digit heat. I'll talk about why we're seeing that near triple-digit heat coming up in just a bit. But Devin, I know it's a little bit of a messy situation. How's it looking outside this morning?
Yeah, we're starting to wake up here in town. We're looking good for the most part. Green areas, starting to see a little bit of that congestion downtown, which we're used to at this point. But the one thing I want to direct your attention to is I-35 northbound. There has been a crash over there. TxDOT says it's minor, but it's just past Judson Road. You can still see, though, it is causing backup all the way down. Thankfully, things have started to get a little less congested over here. 35 Topperwine, that's been one of the big things I've been keeping an eye out this morning. So if you're headed that way up northbound, maybe New Braunfels, San Marcos, Austin area, see if you can exit early to get around some of that. That has not impacted our inbound drive times. We're looking pretty average for normal with that, about 25 minutes or so if you're coming in from Bernie, New Braunfels, Pleasanton, about 30 minutes from Seguin, Floresville, 17 for Lytle, 20 for Castroville and Bulverde, and about 27 for Lavernia. Taking a look at our outbound drive times, though, that 37 minutes to New Braunfels is directly because of that crash. Now, we have seen TxDOT crews out there, and it does appear to be getting better throughout the morning, but just something to keep an eye on as you start to go about your Tuesday here. There's another look at 35 at Topperwine, so you can really see just what's going on. Besides that, though, conditions around town are looking pretty great. Nothing too much that people need to worry about on the roads. Just make sure that you're keeping your eyes on the drivers around you and that you're keeping your speed down. I'll tell you about how TxDOT is working with some local law enforcement agencies to make sure people slow down. I'll have more coming up after this. For now, I'll send it to y'all, Jeff and Ernie.
Right now, 6:03 this morning, San Marcos police say that they have another suspect in custody after a deadly shooting over the weekend. His name, Avery Saul Bowman Jr.
The police say that he was involved in a fight that led to the deadly shooting. It happened near Texas State's campus early Saturday morning. San Marcos police have already arrested the man they say was responsible for that shooting.
Now, they're still looking for this right here. This man recorded the video of the shooting on his phone. Investigators looking for as much evidence as possible at this time. So again, if you have any information, pictures or videos, you are asked to contact San Marcos Police. That number is 512-753-2108. The person arrested so far in this case is 19-year-old Jeremiah Jaden Tobias. He's charged with 2 counts of capital murder and aggravated assault.
All right, we have learned that a man whose wife was found dead, wrapped inside plastic in their South Bexar County home, was an employee of a local school district. Floresville ISD confirmed that up until his arrest this past weekend, 49-year-old Charles Bird worked in the district's maintenance department as a master plumber. But the district said he never had any direct contact with students. An arrest affidavit said Bird admitted to killing his wife, Angela, but right now he's only charged with evidence tampering. That has to do with her body, which investigators said was decomposing inside their home on Pleasanton Road.
We heard on the TV that possibly the body could have been there for a month. I said, oh my God, and we've been here all this time.
The affidavit says a relative of Bird smelled a bad odor at the home and then called the sheriff's office after Bird confessed to killing his wife. Investigators are waiting on an autopsy to determine how she died. They say her body was wrapped in a carpet, blankets, and plastic.
All right, if you're looking at your screen right now, this is a look from the first look with our drone 12 over Ingram and what the Guadalupe River flooding left behind. Ingram, Hunt, Kerrville, among the hardest hit areas in the Hill Country flooding. Officials recently began allowing permitted pilots to fly drones after weeks of a no-fly decree due to the rescue efforts. The drone footage captured areas of Kerrville and Ingram, including Cypress Park and Lewis Hayes Park.
So we told you about how the Hunt School and staff has become the backbone of the recovery efforts in that community. Educators are also taking care of their students' emotional needs.
Patty Santos joins us this morning with an exclusive interview with the Hunt ISD superintendent.
Yeah, good morning. They wanted to invite KSAT specifically to showcase the positive angles of that's happening in their community. Now, Hunt ISD has about 200 students, so it's a very small family. The first thing that educators did was start to call families to make sure that their students and that their staff were safe.
We lost 2 students. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. If you're in a huge district with 2,000 students, it's a big deal. It's a big deal always for school administrators. It's a big deal when it's 200 kids and they all know each other and we know all of them. And so it's a huge loss.
And school starts August 20th, but last week students were invited into the campus to grieve together and to process this tragedy. Superintendent Lucy Harmon, who you heard there, says there's going to be a big effort in the next few weeks to help students and staff get counseling and also learn to look for triggers.
During that week, we're going to make sure that we're doing also sessions to help our people deal with the trauma they've been through. It's going to be all hands on deck to turn ourselves back into school, take a moment for ourselves to refresh, and be ready for our friends that are showing up.
Okay, so Ms. Verlene Wallace is the Hunt ISD counselor, and she was named the 2025 HEB Excellence in Education Elementary School Counselor of the Year. She has already been calling and working with those children who need extra attention. And the school has a flood relief fund. I'm told that money will be used to do special activities throughout the year and as a way to honor those students who died. You can learn more about the district right now on KSAT.com. Just search Hunt ISD.
All right, Patty, thank you for that. Well, this morning there are more questions and answers after one Hill Country City Council meeting.
So it's been just more than 2 weeks since the deadly Hill Country floods, and leaders in Ingram say they've had little to no contact with Kerr County officials.
So Ingram Mayor Claude Jordan says he has not heard from Kerr County officials in days. Now, that was supposed to change last night at the monthly City Council meeting. On the agenda, Kerr County Emergency Management Coordinator William B. Dub Thomas was set to give an update after the July 4th floods, but he didn't show up because of a scheduling conflict. Ingram City leaders told us that communication has been slim from the start, and last night they wanted accountability.
Someone would have at least called and said, how is it out there? What do you got? You know, how many missing people? What kind of equipment's there? You know, what do you think? Did you lose? Do you think you lost a lot of houses? But nothing.
Some progress was made in Ingram last night, though. City Council approved setting up a fund for city disaster relief. Leaders did also talk about the possibility of adding emergency warning systems or sirens down the line, but they tabled the discussion to wait for more information.
Uvalde CISD School Board unanimously voted to release records from the Robb Elementary School shooting. This comes days after an appeals court ruled in favor of KSAT 12 and other news organizations' request for records related to the 2022 massacre. Instead of appealing that ruling, the board complied. Families of 21 victims say that it's a bittersweet victory.
We want the truth out. Everyone needs to know what happened, what exactly happened, where were the failures, where were the communication errors.
The board did not say, though, when these records could be made available.
Well, the number of veterans experiencing homelessness is down this year, along with the number of people who have been without a home for over a year, and those dealing with disabilities. That's according to the point-in-time census done by the organization Close to Home. However, according to their count, nearly half of the people who are currently unsheltered reported that this was their first time experiencing homelessness. Terry Bailing with Haven for Hope said this about the reason why.
It's inflation. It's the cost of housing that continues to go up. If our employment opportunities cannot keep up pace, keep up with the cost of living, then we could see an increase in those experiencing homelessness.
The point-in-time count also found that domestic violence is a major driver of homelessness. There is some hopeful news, though. The organization says the homeless response system they have in place right now is working despite being under-resourced. Close to Home will have a new report coming out next year on how the city can prevent homelessness.
A possible THC ban, property tax relief, redistricting, and the STAR test were on the original agenda when flood emergency funding was added after the Hill Country floods. The Texas Legislative Special Session officially started yesterday. However, the House session only lasted 5 minutes. It was adjourned until Thursday after committees meet Wednesday. That's because the Joint Committee on the Flood Emergency doesn't meet until Wednesday, and they'll meet first responders at the Capitol and then go to Kerrville next week on Thursday to meet with locals there. KSAT, of course, will be at both of those meetings.
Later today, President Trump plans to host Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. at the White House. Their talks are expected to focus on mutual defense as China has become increasingly assertive in the South China Sea. The leaders also are negotiating a potential tariff deal. Marcos met with Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth on Monday. Both sides emphasize their commitment to regional peace and economic collaboration.
Now, we have been talking about the chance of some rain later on in the week, and we're seeing a little bit here on Authority Radar. It's very light, but some of it is making it to the ground. I'll talk about what you see here on Authority Radar, plus the rain and the heat you can see later this week coming up.
Stick around. School is about to start at KSAT, offering a way to help. Coming up, we'll tell you how you can win $500.
And we have an update for people in Bandera and what the water quality looks like this morning after the break. Hi, we're back with an update now for neighbors in the Bandera County subdivision, or Bandera County subdivision. Texas Water Utilities says a boil water notice for that area has been lifted. They say customers of Enchanted River Estates water system had been on a boil water notice over the weekend, but as of right now, normal water pressure levels have returned and the water is free of bacteria.
It would be a tough start to the school year in Kerrville, but that's why the Kimmel Education Foundation and Kimmel ISD's Council of PTAs want to help. They're hosting a school supply drive for Kerrville through Friday, July 25th. You can drop off donations at the Kimmel ISD Support Services building. It's near Loop 337 in New Braunfels.
All right, KSAT wants to help you as we approach back to school. We are offering one lucky winner the chance to win a $500 gift card through a special back-to-school sweepstakes on GMSA. You can enter until noon on August 1st. To enter, just scan the QR code on your screen. You can do it right now and fill out the entry form.
And if you're wondering the first day of school is for your student, we got you covered. That QR code is also going to take you to our article on our website that has all the start dates for all the Bexar County and surrounding school districts. It is that time. It is that time. We're going to be talking about bus stop weather soon.
School zones,
yep.
You know, those kinds of things that are just reminders. And I feel like it's starting earlier. I know it's staggered for some districts, but it's starting earlier this year So, yeah.
Yeah, well,
Like it or not.
Traffic is less hectic than it will be for the start of school. Right there, right, Devin? Even though you are looking at some weird stuff right now.
I know. I got to say, guys, I think I'm glad in the building than rather being out on the road right now, because we're seeing a bit of backup, especially here at 35 northbound, but also starting to see something develop downtown around 37. So let's take a closer look. This is an accident that we've been watching all morning long over here. It's going to be 35. It was just north of Judson Road, just under Topperwine. Thankfully, we're starting to see that area ease up a little bit, congestion go away, and we're starting to see that clear up, so it's always nice to have it when we can. Over here, if we're talking about being downtown, I want to show you guys this right over here as I take a step this way. We're going to see that around 35 North Alamo Street, we've got that crash that is up there starting to cause a bit of a backup for some of our drivers who are headed around there. And just one more reminder for anybody out there near the Hill Country, Highway 39 is still closed for people coming through because of the damage from those floods. There's blockades set up, so it's not like you're just going to find yourself on a closed road. They're going to stop you, and only first responder, working crews, and people affected by this are going to be allowed to go by. So let's go right back here to San Antonio and take a look at what it means for your bottom line. Inbound drive times, we've got about 30 minutes or so if you're coming in from Lavernia, Seguin, New Braunfels, and Floresville. We've got about 20 minutes we're sitting around for Castroville, Lytle, and Bulverde, and about 24 minutes here for Pleasanton and Bernie. Now, if you're leaving San Antonio, thankfully we've seen that outbound time for New Braunfels go down a little bit. It was in the yellow. Now we're back down to 37 minutes, so we'll take it when we can. Taking a look outside so far, conditions on the road are looking good. Nothing that drivers need to worry about like rain, slippery roads. Just make sure when you're headed out, even though it might not be in a school zone yet, you got to keep your speed down. TxDOT is partnering with local law enforcement operations here across Texas to help for what they're calling Operation Slowdown. For now, make sure that you just, stay safe on the roads out there and stay safe when you're outside, Shelby. How hot is it going to be today? Should you pack a couple extra water bottles?
You're definitely going to want to pack some water bottles this morning. I know you may be thinking, oh, do I need to pack an umbrella? Well, we are tracking some light rain in the Hill Country. I'll actually put it in loop for you. But the good news is that it's very light, and we're not even seeing any reports at the Kerrville or the Fredericksburg Airport because it's so light that it's not even falling to the ground to accumulate. So that's an instance where the meteorological term is called Virgo, where it's falling from the sky, but it evaporates before it actually gets to the ground. So that's what's currently going on in the Hill Country. You might see a light shower or two, but even then going closer to San Antonio, we're just seeing some feedback from the radar. We're seeing some of the bats go back to the caves this morning, and that's going to be the story this morning. We're still sitting very warm, very seasonable in those 70s and 80s. But today is still going to be warm. We're seeing another day where we get to those mid to upper 90s, 97 degrees expected for San Antonio. Yes, it's still going to be mostly cloudy skies, but it's still going to have the chance for that heat to really make it feel a few degrees warmer. We're talking about the heat indices either at 100 degrees or above, not only for San Antonio, but also for other areas around San Antonio. So here's kind of a look at the headlines of what you can expect, not only with the heat, but also for the rest of your week. Not only are we seeing the temperatures get to about 100 degrees, we're also seeing the chance of some rain. I've been talking about that all morning, not only this weekend, but also getting into next week. It's very light as of now for what we're seeing in the morning, but we are still checking that chance for that low pressure system to bring in some extra moisture, some extra saturation to areas of south central Texas. And the good news is we're not expecting the rain to cause any flooding, really. I know that's a big concern, especially in the Hill Country where everything is so saturated. So that is some good news. It's the rain we're expecting later this week is unlikely to cause any flooding. And here's kind of where we're looking at for the chance of the rain and kind of the setup. That high pressure system in areas along the Gulf Coast, that's what's giving us the heat. That's what's giving us the normal and the above average temperatures. The upper disturbance with bringing the rain, that's what's bringing us the chance later this week. And I'll leave you with the 7-day forecast to kind of wrap it all in a nice little bow for you. Is still going to be warm over the next few days, seeing temperatures in those mid to upper 90s, even 100 degrees on Thursday. So keep that in mind as you're planning activities, as you're going out and about. And then more chances of rain as we go to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, about a 30 to 10%. So keep in mind when you're planning all the activities, you get a little bit of weather for kind of everyone.
All right. Sounds great.
I feel like summer 2025, has been pretty tolerable I mean, a lot of rain, obviously.
Yeah.
All things considered.
All things considered, especially because the rain, as devastating as it was, has also helped our drought conditions. So there's a bit of give and take as well.
I would say I like record breaking for the athletes, not for the high temperatures. So let's keep it.
Very true.
Good point.
6:22 right now, 78 degrees outside. More of your traffic, weather, and headlines after the break.
Hey, Jimmy.
How you doing?
In this morning's GMA First Look, one-on-one with Jimmy Kimmel. You're familiar with this set, so
I've been here,
yeah.
I mean, I fly this ship from time to time. Computer, please reveal the correct answer.
Jimmy's back this summer for season 4 of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. This time, celebrities competing for a $1 million grand prize for a charity of their choice.
I will say it went well for some people this year.
So more than one.
Perhaps, maybe, we'll see. I can't reveal, but a lot of money was handed out.
Really?
A lot of confetti was dispensed.
Do you have to pay that personally? Does that come out of your pocket?
I'm not sure. Actually, that's a great question. I didn't check, but I don't think so.
And coming up at 7 a.m., we'll have much more with Jimmy Kimmel, plus an update on his son Billy's health after his 3rd open heart surgery. With your GMA First Look, I'm Matt Gutman, ABC News, Los Angeles.
6:28 right now with 78 degrees outside.
I still ahead on GMSA what officials said during Kerrville's Commissioner's Court meeting and why the count of people missing dropped significantly.
Live from KSAT 12, Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Kicking off this Tuesday, coming up on 6:30. Hey,
Good.
I like that little drum. There we go.
We've got jazz musical talents. Least I can do is
Ernie's
keep
still
a
on
little
vacation
rhythm.
mode.
I'm still Devin does all his own stunts. Everything,
Ernie's
so.
still thinking about the weather on the cruise.
I think so.
Was the weather on the cruise as warm as the weather is?
There was
here in
rain.
town?
I will say, weather-wise, one night, Tammy and I sat out and just stared at the Atlantic Ocean and all the lightning in the. It was 30 minutes of nonstop
Beautiful.
lightning,
I love
way in the
that.
distance.
It's a beautiful scene.
Pitch black darkness, and then
Nature's
the lightning.
fireworks show.
So that was actually
My
pretty
There
cool.
you go.
Favorite thing ever, just to like sit down and see the lightning.
No thunder, right? It's just
No.
hundreds of miles away, probably, but it just lights up the sky.
That sounds like a good little date.
I'm glad you had great weather on the cruise, relatively speaking. I mean, we're going to have great weather here. I mean, it's going to be a little toasty for most of us, but it's still going to be nice and comfortable. Temperatures right now, you're waking up sitting in those 70, 78 degrees in San Antonio right now. 73 in areas of the hill country, but they're also seeing a little bit of some light virga this morning, which is the rain that's not making it all the way to the ground, and it evaporates before it actually gets there. But otherwise, temperatures still sitting nice and comfortable in those 70s. Today, though, we are going to warm up. We are going to be very seasonable, very normal and close to average today. Our average is about 95 degrees, so we are going to sit just within a few degrees of that, but areas just to the south, along that I-35 corridor further south near Laredo, Carrizo Springs, Cotulla, that's where we normally see some warmer temperatures. They are supposed to get to about 100 degrees today, but we're not the only ones. Texas isn't the only one seeing the heat, but this is normal for us. Most of the country, this is not. This is the peak temperature later today for most of the country. We see 100 degrees later today in Pierre, South Dakota, 97 degrees in Oklahoma City. And wherever you see those little pink spots, that's where most of the country is seeing triple-digit heat. And it's all because of a few things. But for the South Coast or for the Gulf Coast, that's why we're seeing triple-digit, because we have a heat high coming over. And that's going to control our weather over the next few days. I'll talk about that coming up and what that means exactly for San Antonio over the next few days with our temperatures. But Devin, how's it looking outside this morning on the roads?
Well, so far we've had one thing wrap up that's been great and another accident pop up over here. Let's take a look downtown. You can see we've got fully green around San Antonio, except here for this spot around I-37 or so. We do know that there was a crash and it's been shutting down some of the lanes here. This gives you a better picture of it from the northbound side and looking at it from the southbound side as well. So if you're getting on there, keep in mind, I know a lot of people merge around that area when they're coming into work. So see if you can get off early or be prepared to sit in it for a little while. The good news we've seen so far is there was one crash up north on this side of town on I-35. That was being a big deal for a lot of drivers headed to New Braunfels, San Marcos, Austin area. Thankfully, that is cleaned up. We're happy to see that. Taking a look at the bottom line, here's what it means for your inbound drive times. We've got about 30 minutes or so if you're coming in from New Braunfels, Seguin, Lavernia, Floresville. We've got about 25 if you're coming in from Pleasanton, Castroville, and Lytle. As we take a look outside, there's a better angle of that crash here that you can see at 35, Cesar Chavez right there. So just make sure if you're headed out that way, you're keeping a good eye out for that. Besides that, conditions in town are looking pretty good over here. Nothing too much you need to worry about on the roads, just besides keeping your eyes out for the other drivers around you and keeping your speed low. Coming up, I'll be talking about the effort with TxDOT and local law enforcement agencies to make sure that everyone slows down just before we start to get ready for back to school season. For now, I'll send it over to you guys, Ernie and Jeff.
Alrighty, sir, thank you very much. A man is in a hospital this morning after a hit-and-run accident overnight. It happened near Culebra Road and Memorial Street just before 1 a.m. San Antonio police say the victim is in his 20s and was hit by a white Toyota while trying to cross the street. The driver took off, and we will continue to update you as we learn more.
Over in Kerrville, as we continue to understand more about the flood damage there, some people who are trying to rebuild are growing frustrated, and it has to do with aid. It's unclear how many homes and cars were destroyed by the July 4th floods, but we do know the damage was extensive. Estefania Jimenez has been speaking with people who have turned to FEMA for help, and one man saying that FEMA sent him a note that he'd get $50 to replace his flooded out car. Well, another woman coming in saying that FEMA denied her for property or vehicle damage, even though her vehicle was ruined and most of her belongings got water damage. We have emailed FEMA's press office 3 times in the last week and haven't heard back just yet.
Happening today, FEMA representatives, along with someone from the National Flood Insurance Program, will speak to people in Kerr County. It's for an informational event happening at Ingram Tom Moore High School auditorium. The address is right there on the screen. The event starts tonight at 6:30.
During Kerrville Commissioner's Court meeting, officials were able to answer some questions regarding the dramatic drop in the amount of people who were reported missing after the flooding.
So the number was initially at 161, and then over the weekend, leaders said that just 3 people were unaccounted for in Kerr County. So why the discrepancy? Well, they say tourism. Commissioners said that there was no way to get an accurate count for the people who were visiting the Hill Country during the 4th of July and then left because of the flooding. So the number of people who are missing dropped because many of the people who were visiting have since been contacted. Appraisers also gave the county a preliminary estimate of $200 million in lost property value because of the floods.
We're also learning more about how the flooding along the Guadalupe River unfolded. KSAT Investigates team received log of calls made to 911 on July 4th. People along Highway 39 in Hunt started calling for help around 3:30 that morning, and one of the first callers was Paula Zonker, the wife of Tivy soccer coach Reese Zonker. Both of them, along with their 2 children, swept away. In all, Kerr County dispatchers got more than 370 calls that day, and the logs show how the calls progressed from help to welfare checks.
A heartbreaking reminder of the toll of the Hill Country floods. Campers' trunks were laid out in front of the White House. They represent the girls who died in the floodwaters at Camp Mystic. Advocates are once again calling for the White House to fund programs they believe will prevent disasters.
For these girls to not have come home to their mothers is unthinkable. As a mother myself, it's absolutely unimaginable to think about what they are going through in this moment.
So just yesterday, Senator Maria Cantwell of Washington State called on President Trump to reverse his proposal to cut the budget for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA. According to CNN, the Trump administration's budget proposal would slash about $1.7 billion from the NOAA budget. But it is important to note there has been a debate on whether budget cuts actually contributed to what happened on July 4th. There's also concern over the impact any future budget cuts may have.
The Together for Texas donation drive still ongoing, and KSAT, our sister station KPRC, Grand Media Group, and Gray Media set this up to help the people affected by the floods. And get this, you guys have helped us raise more than $1 million. Thank you, thank you, thank you, because all that money is going to go directly to the on-the-ground efforts in flood-affected areas through the Salvation Army.
And right now, although some areas might seem like they're getting some rain, we have actually no reported rainfall totals in areas of the Hill Country, in the Kerrville, Junction, or even Rock Springs or Fredericksburg Airport. But we're still seeing some light rain show up on the radar. I'll talk about it coming up.
They asked for his driver's license. He refused, and it led to this forcible arrest. He set his camera up for a viral moment, but body cam footage has given us a clearer picture of what really went down.
And the legal battle to release the Epstein files continues this morning. How Republicans and Democrats are teaming up for that. Coming up. Hi, we're back 6:41 now. And this morning, some Republicans are teaming up with Democrats to try to override the will of House Speaker Mike Johnson. They are demanding the swift release of all unclassified documents and communications related to accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein.
So that's after a much hyped disclosure from the Attorney General provided little new information. Amy Kiley reports that Johnson says that he preferred to give the Trump administration more time to disclose what he calls credible files.
When the speaker stands in the way of justice and transparency, this is how we get justice.
An effort to force a House vote on releasing more Epstein files appears able to succeed. It would let lawmakers decide whether to give the Trump administration 30 days to disclose unclassified materials. The discharge petition is from Republican Representative Thomas Massie and Democratic Representative Ro Khanna. It would need 218 signatures, and Democrats could supply all but 6.
What are they hiding from the American people? Release the files.
Enough House Republicans say they'd back the measure to get it over the finish line. Many face pressure from their base.
They don't want things covered up, especially when it comes to the most well-known convicted pedophile in modern day history.
Files are going to have to come out.
I think sunlight's good medicine.
The petition has to wait until after the 5-week August recess due to procedural requirements. House Speaker Mike Johnson could bring a related, non-binding resolution to the floor this week, but he says he won't, arguing the president is taking steps already.
He's asked the Attorney General to request the grand jury files of the court. We need the administration to have the space to do what it is doing. And if further congressional action is necessary or appropriate, then we'll look at that.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
All right, now to a violent arrest caught on camera in Florida. A lot of people talking about this. Authorities are defending the officer's actions, and we want to warn you, if you have not seen this, some of you might find the video a little hard to watch.
Okay, so this video, it clearly shows the sheriff's deputies beating and punching 22-year-old William Anthony McNeil Jr. during a traffic stop after he repeatedly refused to exit his vehicle and refused to give over his driver's license. Well, police say they pulled him over to begin with for driving around with his headlights off while it was raining, which is illegal, and they told him that as soon as they pulled him over. McNeil says that the incident left him with a chipped tooth and wounds requiring 9 stitches. Jacksonville, Florida Sheriff's Office insists, though, the officers did nothing criminal.
He was very confused as to why he was being pulled over for not having headlights on during the day.
Again, police say that it was raining at that time. They say that the video tells only part of the story. In the police report, an officer claimed that McNeil was reaching for a large knife, which was found in the car. But McNeil's lawyers deny that. In the body cam video, police respectfully warned McNeil over and over and over to comply before having to force him to exit the car. Court records show McNeil charged with resisting arrest without violence, as well as driving with a suspended license. He served 2 days in jail.
There absolutely was force used by the arresting officers, and yes, that force is ugly. And just because force is ugly does not mean it's unlawful.
All right, meanwhile, the former girlfriend of a San Antonio police officer has broken her silence. She told KSAT Investigates that he placed an Apple AirTag in her vehicle without her knowing. SAPD's Internal Affairs was investigating Officer Asensio Mata. And in late April, investigators they cleared him of any wrongdoing. So this woman, who asked that we call her Marie, said that she's disappointed by the department's lack of action.
It came down to he said, she said, and his side of the story was that I agreed for the device to be in my car.
All right, so tonight on the Night Beat, Officer Mata will respond to those accusations.
All right, let's check out our roadways as the sun is starting to come out. Devin, are we still busy?
Yes, we are, especially around the downtown area. More specifically, 3537 right over here, right where Highway 90 intersects. We know there's been a crash over there near East Cesar Chavez, and that's what's been causing some backup right over here for some of the drivers. You can see what it looks like there from the southbound lanes going north and from the northbound lanes going up there as well. So just make sure if you're headed around that area, especially Highway 90, keep an eye out for that, because we've even got some issues earlier on Highway 90 90 closer to Castroville on this side of town. You can see the line of brake lights, not something we're typically loving around this time of morning. Checking in here what it means over in Kerrville. I want to remind you guys over here that Highway 39, that's between Ingram and Hunt, that is still closed for anyone coming through the area. Now, you're not just going to find yourself upon a road that's closed. There are checkpoints by first responders set up, and they're only allowing first responder crews, anyone working out there, or people affected by the floods to go through. So just make sure you're keeping that in mind when you're headed around the hill country. All right, let's check out what it means for your inbound drive times. The only yellow one that I'm seeing right now is 26 minutes coming in from Castroville, but that could be rising throughout the morning. We have cooled down a lot earlier from an issue that was causing drivers for 35 northbound going up towards New Braunfels, San Marcos, Austin area. So just keep an eye on that. As far as our outbound drive times go, if anyone's getting out of San Antonio, thankfully, we are still in the green. I want to give you guys another look. This is the crash that is over here at Cesar Chavez. Thankfully, we can see some first responders and police officers working on that response over there. Besides that, conditions on the roadways still looking pretty good for our drivers. Nothing like wet roads to worry about, but that may not be the case forever as far as I understand. Shelby, you're saying that you're predicting a little bit of rain?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Devin. Now, some areas of the hill country are seeing, we're actually now getting reports of some light drizzle and even light rain in areas of Fredericksburg. But what we're seeing for most of us, there's been no reported rain at the Kerrville airport or even the Junction, Rock Springs, or Lakey airports. And that's what we call virga, where it starts to rain from the sky to the clouds. And it's actually raining, but the little rain droplets evaporate before it actually makes to the ground. So it looks like it's raining, it pops up as rain, but it's not actually quite getting it to the ground. But we are getting some light reports of some light drizzle, maybe even a light rain or two, a raindrop in areas of Fredericksburg. So we'll keep that in mind. But otherwise, that's going to be it really for throughout the day today. We are expecting temperatures not only today, but over the next few days to really warm up. We're talking about temperatures in the triple digits. 97 degrees expected for San Antonio today, 99 Wednesday, 100 degrees on Thursday. This is really going to warm up over the next few days, and it's starting today. And that's because we're going to see a little bit of a break in the clouds, but also we're also tracking a few tropical systems that's going to allow our temperatures to be a little on the cooler side later this week. And here's kind of the setup of why we're seeing the temperatures and what we're going to see going forward. So right now we have two systems we're watching. We have this area of high pressure currently in areas of the Gulf, and that's going to continue to be the main weather maker over today and tomorrow. This is what's giving us the high pressure, the warm temperatures, the 100-degree heat or near 100-degree heat. But just to the east of Florida, that upper level disturbance, that low, that's going to give us some rain chances coming up later this weekend. And I'll give you a rough timeline of what you can expect. Yes, it's still a few days away, and we're still trying to see our high-res models don't come in just yet, but here's kind of a rough, loose timeline of what you can expect. Today and throughout the next few days, we're going to continue to have that high-pressure system be the main weather maker. However, on Thursday, we're finally seeing that upper level low and that moisture being brought up through with that low. That's going to continue to make its way into San Antonio already on Thursday, and it's going to really start to loop around behind it and finally make its way into San Antonio. Already seeing some rain reported on Friday around midday. Can't expect some in the morning, and it's going to continue to have off and on showers throughout the next few days. It's going to continue until about Sunday midday is the last chance of some actual showers we anticipate for us here in South Central Texas. So we'll keep you posted, but we're also not tracking a heavy amount of rainfall with this. It's going to be very light for some of us, especially in areas of San Antonio. Heavier rain as you go to the east, heavier rain as you go into areas of West Texas. But for us, the main moisture and the main chance of some more accumulating rainfall is going to be along the coast near the coastal plains. But even then, we're talking about maybe half an inch of rain, isolated more or less. So we'll keep you posted, especially as we get closer to about Thursday. We can get the more high resolution weather models to kind of give you a better picture of the exact time track of location. But right now, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, seeing some light rain chances, 30 to 20 to 10%. And it goes and continues to weaken as we get to next week. Still tracking though temperatures throughout most of it, staying in those 90s, mid to upper 90s, even 100 degrees expected on Thursday. We'll be back after the break.
you have a favorite restaurant or a favorite hairstylist? SA Picks is back, and we want to know who you think are the top businesses in the city. There are more than 90 categories to vote on. Just scan the QR code on your screen. You can vote for each category once a day, and you have until August 1st to vote. The finalists will be announced on August 19th, and then there'll be another round of voting from August 20th through September 12th to determine the big winners. We'll announce the winners in late September, so cast your vote now for your favorite business to be recognized as the best in San Antonio.
Fix in as soon as you can.
Exactly. All right, don't miss out on a chance to participate in a town hall with us. It's happening tomorrow evening at Santikos Casablanca. We'll be discussing how to receive all the KSAT content on all the platforms, any signal issues you might have. We'll be taking questions as well, so you can scan that QR code right there on your screen right now to sign up for a seat. Again, this is a free event happening tomorrow on the 23rd from 7 p.m. to 8. And to find out more information, just go to KSAT.com.
All right, Devin, how are we looking on the roadways?
Well, as the sun is coming up, so are the drivers coming out. Taking a look at some of the conditions there. We've got an accident at 35 in Cesar Chavez that is backing things up around downtown, right where 35, 37, I-10 all intersect. So that's something we're keeping an eye on. Besides that, conditions are okay on the roads. Just make sure you're keeping an eye out for the drivers around you and keeping your speed down. Other than that, we're going to be doing pretty good. How are we looking as far as the weather goes, Shelby?
Well, we're still seeing some light virgin, some light rain, and even some thunder reported in areas of Fredericksburg, but most of the rain continues to arrive on Friday and Saturday and Sunday for us here in San Antonio. About a 30% chance as we're tracking some tropical moisture to return to areas from the Gulf. But before we get to the rain chances, we are warming up. Temperatures getting to those upper 90s, even our first triple-digit day in the month of July on Thursday, guys. Back to you.
Okay, very good, Shelby. Thank you very much. So GMSA Plus coming up in a little while. As I say, it's kind of like the unfiltered-ish version of GMSA.
Yes, we're going to party after this.